everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Sari and you are watching my knitting podcast videos. In today's episode I'm going to continue where I left off in the previous episode. So I'm going to be talking about my upcoming book and showing you some more of the knits that are in the book. So if you are new here and you haven't watched my previous videos, it's now Friday and my book is coming out next Monday, so there's only a couple of days left before the book comes out, and I can't even start telling how excited I am about it. So the book is called Softly Timeless Knits and it consists of 22 knitting patterns. All of them are new, so I haven't released the patterns earlier, and I would say the patterns range from some are very beginner friendly, most are intermediate, couple are a bit more intricate, a bit more advanced. But like I said in my previous video, I consider my job as the knitwear designer that it's my job to write the pattern, it's my job to figure everything out so that you don't have to do it. So I try to write all my patterns in that way that it's very easy to follow, and the patterns may look a bit long when you first glance at them, but that's only because I have tried to explain everything. So if you just follow the pattern, then I'm sure you can do it. There was maybe 6 months ago I got a message from this lady who said to me that she was working on my Billie pullover pattern and that her daughter, who had never knitted a sweater before, had fallen in love with it and wanted to knit one as well. So they started to knit the Billie pullover together, and then she sent me a message with a photo of herself with her daughter, and they were both wearing Billie pullovers. And I would rank the Billie pullover as more advanced pattern because it has a lot of cables, it has raglan shaping and so on. But she was a beginner, she had never knitted any cables before and she managed to do that. So I'm very confident that if you just follow the pattern, you can do much more than you give yourself credit. So just go on, try out new things. The worst thing that happens is that it doesn't work out, you have to rip back, but yarn is very forgiving, so you can always rip it back, you can use it for something else. It's not like cloth that once you cut it then it's it's done. You can't kind of like glue it back together and cut it again to something else. But yarn you can always unravel and you can do something else with it. So be brave, try out new things, and even if something that I show in this video looks very intimidating, there are easier patterns in the book and you can build up your skills and then tackle the harder patterns. In this video I'm again going to show you 7 of the patterns, a couple of garments, a few cardigans. I think I have 2 cardigans, 2 sweaters, 2 scarves and a pair of like these long mitts that I'm gonna share with you. And then I have a few more designs left and I thought that I would film the last video next week once I get the book in my hand so that I can actually show it to you and show how the actual book looks like. And then I will show you the rest of the knits as well. I'm trying to keep these videos so that they don't turn out way too long because I always have so much to say about everything. So trying to narrow the things that I'm going to show in this video down a bit, and then maybe make a bit more videos instead of trying to make just one long video. But continuing where I left off in my previous video, so if you haven't watched my previous video where I show the first 7 knits, I also talk more about the book, as well as the video that I did before that. I recommend you watch them first, because then you get a bit more background information about the book, about my design inspiration, and why I have named the designs as I have named them. But also you can just watch this and then you can go back to the previous videos as well. But let's go to the knits. I could first start talking about this cardigan that I'm wearing at the moment. This is the Asopo cardigan, and this actually comes in 2 different lengths. So this one that I'm wearing, I could just stand up so you can see. So this is like this short version of it, and it's short and boxy. So both versions that I'm going to show you are going to be are in the book, so you can choose which pattern to make. Luna came here again, and she usually always comes to my videos. I think my previous video was first in a long time that none of our pets are in the video. So we have 2 cats, Luna and Marlon, and then we have a dog called Eetu. Luna is usually always in my videos. She has like this 6th sense that she knows this is when I start the film, and then she comes here. It's also every time I try to have a Teams or a Zoom meeting, then there's always my assistant Luna in the video as well. I could maybe in my next video I will talk a bit more about Luna and tell her story, but she's here now. This one, this was actually the first bigger design that I made for the book. I showed you the millet hat in my previous video. It was the double-sided hat, the double layer hat, and I made it also in this dark grey. It was Knitting for Olives colorway slate grey. So that's the first thing that I needed for this book, and the Asopo cardigan was actually the second one that I made. And in the next video, in the 3rd set, I'm going to show you the 3rd pattern that I made for the book. So this is where it all started. So I knew that it was one of the first designs that I had picked for the book. So I knew that I wanted to make this kind of cardigan that you can make either a long version or a short version. So like I said, this is the short version. I'm also wearing a slightly larger size than what the lighter version is that I'm going to show you shortly. I'm trying to show you the cardigan, but Luna thinks that every time I stretch out my hand it means that she is going to get some petting. But anyway, like I said, this is Brooklyn Tweed Shelter, and the colorway is called Cast Iron, and I think it's one of my favorite dark grey colors because it's very dark, but because it has like these little tweed knobs that you can see over here, you can still see the texture very well. So now you can see when the light hits the sleeve. So it has a cable pattern on the sleeve, so it has kind of like this shawl color that folds kind of almost like double around my neck, and then very plain body. So the body is knitted in stockinette stitch, a longish ribbing over here, and then a simple cable pattern on the sleeves. So this is one of those designs that if you haven't knitted cables before, this is a very good place to start. It only has 2 kinds of cables, so it has 2/2 right cables and 2/2 left cables. So this is a very good like stepping stone if you want to try cables, So it only has the cables on the sleeves. That longer version that I'm going to show you very soon also has it on the pockets, but the shorter version doesn't have any pockets. And this is knitted from top down. You first start by making the back neck and then start increasing for the back, then pick up stitches for both fronts and then join everything together below the underarm and work the body straight downwards, and then you pick up sleeve stitches along the sleeve openings and work them in the round with the cable pattern over them. So this is the short version, and here we have the same cardigan, but this is the long version. So it doesn't have any buttons in the front, so it's an open front. And here you can see the back neck. So it started here at the back neck. You work this piece for the back neck, then pick up stitches along it, and then increase for the back. And this longer version, you can see it also has the same cable pattern on the sleeves. It also has pockets, and the pockets have the same cable pattern, and then we have a belt. Luna is very interested about the belt as well, and the belt also has this cable pattern. I'll just quickly put this on so you can see it better on me. So here I have it on me now. You can see the cables on the sleeves. So this is one size smaller than the black one, so it's slightly slimmer fit on me. And we have the belt over here, so you can either have the belt open or then tie it in the front, and like I said, there are pockets. But both versions of this pattern are in the... Luna is now in my place. So both versions are in the book, so you can choose which one you want to make, or maybe you want to make both of them. And this one was knitted with the Rerum Natura Gilliatt. The colorway is called Poivre Blanc, and this was knitted by my sample knitter Sonja, and it's so beautiful, so gorgeous. I absolutely love it. I think this is one of my favorite designs in the book. Very classy, very easy to style, very versatile, and it's kind of like set the idea for the whole book, like what kind of designs I wanted to make for the book. So that was, like I said, the first bigger design that I made for the book. So this is the Asopo cardigan, and ever since I shared the first photos of the designs in the book, I think this has been one of your favorites as well. So I'm really looking forward to people starting to knit it. Of course, my test knitters have been knitting it already, but to see all of your versions of this. And I'm also interested to see which length you prefer. So if you want to make the shorter version or this longer one with pockets. I absolutely love pockets on cardigans. It's one of my favorite things. So now that I have showed you the first designs in the book, let's circle back to the end of the book. So I'm going to show you the last two designs that I made for the book. And from the very beginning, when I started designing and thinking about what kind of designs I want to have in the book, I had this magic number of 20 knits in my mind. For some reason I thought that 20 knits is kind of like a good amount of designs for a book. I think it feels like you really get like your money's worth when you buy the whole book. Then I think 10 designs is too little. So I wanted to, for some reason, I settled on the number 20, so I thought that 20 designs is a good number for the book, but in the end it turned out to be 22, and I had already decided on all the things that I wanted to have in the book. I had almost designed everything, and then I had either knitted some of them myself, and the rest I had sent to my sample knitters. And then I started to think that I only have one lace yoke design, and everything else is pretty much either very plain or then it's cables. And then I started to think that maybe I should also add a colorwork thing in my book. And at that time I already knew that we were going to take the photos in Paris, and for some reason I often think that colorwork knitting, at least in Finland, if you knit them with ttlopi, I associate them with going to the nature, hiking, like taking photos in the forest. And I was thinking, how does this work for a Parisian setting? But then I started to think that at the same time, a lot of fashion magazines like Vogue, Elle, everything that I read, they had a lot of Fair Isle, like circular yoke pullovers, but they were styled so differently that they looked very contemporary in an urban setting. So I kind of wanted to bring that vibe, that let's take an Icelandic yoke sweater knitted with ttlopi and bring it to Paris and put it in a totally different setting. And I thought it was a bit of a gamble, and I even paired it with like this very short glitter skirt. I kind of wanted to have like this vibe of dancing the night away, and then when it gets cold and you're on your way home, then you throw on your favorite sweater, like comfy sweater, and you're like all warm and cozy when you're going home. So that's how the Tritone pullover came to be. So this is knitted with 3 different colors of ttlopi. I can't remember the colorway numbers, but I will write everything below this video. So all the yarns, pattern names, everything will be below this video, as well as a pre-order link to my book. Just quickly saying about the pre-order link. So I have heard that if you order the book straight from my publisher, the shipping costs might be quite a lot depending on where you live, and I heard that in some places the shipping costs more than the actual book. So if that is the case in where you live, maybe one alternative is to get a group of friends to order the book at the same time. Then you can divide the shipping costs, and it's not as much per person. And I have heard that many places have already taken the book. For example, in Germany, Making Stories and Yarn Over Berlin have it. There are a couple of other places as well. The Rerum Natura is going to distribute it in France and in EU. Tribe Yarns is having it in London. For example, in Scandinavia you can order it through Adlibris. In Finland there's Suomalainen Kirjakauppa that also carries the book. So check out with your local yarn stores if they already carry the book, or your local bookstores as well. I have had a couple of questions if it's going to be on Amazon. I don't know about that yet, but let's hope everybody who wants it finds a place where they can order it without having to pay a fortune for the shipping. But anyway, this is the Treon Pullover, and like I said, I will write the yarn numbers below this video. But this is knitted with stex ttlopi, so Icelandic wool, and you could work it with Cascade 220. It's the same yarn weight. It's not quite as like scratchy, itchy yarn, so I also like to use that for my sweaters, colorwork sweaters as well. Brooklyn Tweed Shelter would also be a good alternative, or Rerum Natura Gilliatt. Also CamaRose Lamauld is another good option for this one, and it's a lot softer than the original yarn. So if the ttlopi is too itchy for you, then there are plenty of options that you can choose from. I think maybe you could also go for Sandnes Garn, either Gynt, or you should probably try swatching, but I think even double Sunday could be a good alternative for this yarn. This is knitted top down. It has a circular yoke and a couple of short row shaping, like I often do them below the pattern, so I work them from one underarm to another underarm, so that makes the as you can see, the front is slightly longer than the back, so that makes the front neck dip nicely, and it fits better around the neck. But if you don't want to make the short rows, you can always leave them out, and there's a bit of color work also on the sleeves as well. And we took the photos of this near Sacré-Cœur, and I thought that it was actually a perfect setting for it, because the windows of the church really match these little diamond shapes. I hadn't even thought about that when I was designing, but like I said, when we started taking the photos, I thought like it felt like everything kind of all the pieces fell together and like perfectly. And so this is the Tritone Pullover, and it was a second to last design that I added for the book, and I'll show you the last one. It wasn't going to be in the book, but I'm happy that I put it there anyway. So this is the Tipoplo pullover, and this is a chunky weight. It's knitted with Katia Love wool. It's knitted top down. It has raglan shaping and this very chunky cable pattern on the front, so the back is just stockinette stitch. And this is actually something that I designed already earlier. So this was something that I designed for my Domestika course. So if you want to learn how to knit cables, I have made a whole course for Domestika about cable knitting, and this is the design that I made for that course. The pattern that is in the book is slightly tweaked from the design that I made for Domestika, because I had to shorten the design, the pattern a bit, so that it fits on the pages of the book. But yeah, so this was originally made for Katia Love wool, from Katia Love wool, and it was originally made for my Domestika course. My Domestika course came out last March, and I have been keeping this design secret ever since I made it a year earlier for the course. And then when the course came finally out last March, I thought that there's like no point for me to release this pattern as an individual pattern at that time of year, because that was the time when everybody is thinking about summer and summer knits, and I don't think anybody wants to make a chunky weight cable pattern on 10mm needles and super bulky yarn. And then I thought that if I'm going to start saving this pattern to release it now in the fall, then it's kind of like old news. So I had this idea of adding the pattern into my book, so that's why it's the 22nd pattern. And actually, in that sense, it's actually the first thing that I made for the book, but because this is over a year older than anything else that I have in the book. And not a year older, but 6 months, something like that, a bit more than that. So that's why this design is also in the book, so I decided to add it there as well. And like I said in my previous video, I kind of want to have a bit easier designs in the book as well, so that not everything is super hard. So you can start. This is also a very good place to start as a beginner, especially since I have the Domestika course where I show you how to knit this sweater from scratch. So that is a good companion if you want to learn how to knit cables. And also this one has just 2 types of cables. They are 3/3 right and left cables and nothing else. So super easy in that sense. So this is the Tipoplo pullover in Katia Love Wool. And I could show you a couple of smaller knits here in the middle, and then I have one more cardigan for you. But I'll show you 2 scarves, and then I could actually start because they are here. These are the Polymnia mitts. So like I said, all the names of the designs are named after ancient Greek muses. So Polymnia was the muse of hymns, and this is how they look like. So these were knitted in Gepard Garn vintage Eco Cashmere, which is a DK weight yarn. So you could actually make them in any DK weight yarn or with a combination of fingering weight yarn and silk mohair, but I think the cashmere content in this yarn makes them feel super soft and very luxurious. So I was first going to make mittens for the book, but then changed my mind and decided to make these like really long mitts or gloves instead. So this is how they look like. They have this cable pattern over them, and then you increase over here. So you start at this cuff over here, start the cable pattern, and then make a gusset for the thumb, and then you knit the thumb and the fingers separately. So these are the Polymnia mitts, and like I said, the yarn is absolutely gorgeous. It's so soft, and like they are so luxurious. I also want to make them in maybe like dark grey and maybe fingering weight yarn plus silk mohair. I was thinking about the same colorway from Knitting for All with the slate grey that I used for the melody hat. I think this would look super chic like that. So the Polymnia mitts, and then we have the Arche or Arche, depending on how you want to pronounce it. If I pronounce it like I would pronounce Finnish, then it's Arche. Scarf or collar, I don't know what you want to call it, but this is like this super long cabled scarf that has like this turtleneck cowl piece in the middle. And the idea for this came that I have like this winter coat that has a very deep V-neck, and especially in Helsinki, because it's a seaside town, it's always very windy, and I think every time I have like a scarf it starts to open, and then the wind gets and blows into my neck. But well, of course you could wear a collar plus a scarf, but I decided I wanted to create something that combines both of them. So this has like this, I'll just show it to you. So it has this turtleneck part that keeps your neck warm, and then two long pieces of scarf that you can just like wrap around your neck. So here's the other side, like this. And this way your neck stays warm. You still have the look of a long cabled scarf, but the neck keeps it in place. So even though if it opens, it won't fall down, it doesn't start like, well, what's the word? Sliding off your shoulders. It doesn't drag in the ground, but you can just like wear it anyway, like a scarf you would normally wear. But since you have the turtleneck in the middle, this keeps your neck sheltered and warm, and the whole scarf thing in place. So this is, let's see, totally. So it started at the top of the neck. You first work the ribbing, and then you divide the stitches into and work the sides of the scarf separately. This is knitted with the Rerum Natura Robinson in the colorway Nougat. It's a DK weight yarn, so you can work this in any DK weight yarn you want, substitute it for anything. Again, you can also go for a combination of fingering weight yarn and silk mohair. I would go for something that has a good stitch definition so that the cable pattern shows well, and also what was I going to say? Unicolor or slightly tonal yarns. So if you have a self-striping yarn or something that has a lot of speckles, stripes, different colors, the colors might start pooling, or at least the it will take away from the cable pattern. And I actually cast it on this today, a second one. I will show more of that to you in my future videos. But it's something that I was going to make for the book in the beginning, but then I ran out of time, so I decided to leave that out of the book, but still want to do it now. So I'm going to make a shorter version of this. So I'm going to work the fronts only something like this, and then add a little bit of ribbing next to it, so it's more like a collar that you can wear under your jacket. So you have the turtleneck, and then you have the little collar part in addition to that. So it's not so much as of a scarf, more like a little collar. So that's something that I'm making at the moment, but I only have a little bit of the cast on as well as the ribbing, so I will show more of that to you later, so you can see that alternative of that pattern as well. Then two last things for this video. This is the tala shawl. So this is knitted in Gepard Garn, Wild and Soft, as well as their Gynt tweed. So it's a triangular shawl, and I think the lace pattern reminds me of the lace that I used for my Poivre Pullover. So that's why I picked it for this shawl. So it's like this super big triangular shawl. It has a bit of garter stitch here at one side. So you first So you first work this tip of the scarf, start increasing in the lace pattern, and after a while you change the increases into the garter stitch pattern, continue with the lace pattern until the end, but the second side of the scarf is worked in garter stitch, which makes it squishy and quite stretchy. And then I like adding little tassels to my scarves because it gives it a bit more length and movement, so it makes it a bit longer without giving it a lot of bulk. So this is the Thalea shawl. It's something that I really like. This was also one of the first things that I designed for the book. I didn't knit this myself, so this was knitted by my sample knitter Jessica. So here you can see the lace pattern closer up. And the last thing in today's video is the Urania cardigan, or urania, depending on how you want to pronounce the name. So urania if you pronounce it in the Finnish way like me, so urania. And it started at the back neck, so here where you can see the cables changing, you work a bit of the cable and then the other side, then pick up stitches for the back and start increasing on the shoulders. So here's the shoulder line, you can see it here. So this is where we increase for both the front and the back, and continue with the cable pattern all the way down to the hem. So these are a few of my favorite details, that the cable actually continues all the way down, and here's the ribbing next to it. And then you pick up stitches for the sleeves, work them in the round, and lastly there's the button band. So it's picked up from the body and folded double, and instead of buttons I wanted to add this like snap buttons for this one, so it doesn't have buttonholes at all, but I found these beautiful golden snap buttons, so I wanted to add them for this one. Also you can easily take them off if you don't want to have them, and have this as like an open front cardigan. And this was knitted in Knitting for Olive's merino and their soft silk mohair. I can't remember the colorway names, I will add them also below this video. And it was knitted by my sample knitter Riikka. But I love the combination of the merino and the soft silk mohair, because the merino is slightly lighter than the soft silk mohair, so it adds beautiful texture to this cardigan. And these were actually yarns that I picked up myself when I went to Copenhagen and I visited Knitting for Olive's store, because it's always a bit hard to pick colors on the computer screen, especially I think Knitting for Olive has so many quite similar shades that have like a very small tonal difference. So comparing them and seeing how they look like when you work them together on a computer screen is impossible. So that's why I loved visiting the Knitting for Olive shop, so I could see how the designs actually looked like in reality, and pick. Luna is playing over there. There's apparently a fly that she is trying to catch from our balcony door window, so that's the noise, weird noise that you are hearing. But I was saying that this is kind of like a combination of yarns that I couldn't have picked on computer screen, so I was super happy that I had the possibility to visit their shop, so I could pick them up, myself, and I absolutely love the combination of those two together. But I will write the yarn names below this video. So this was everything I had for today's video. I hope the book comes out on Monday, so that is only 3 days away. This book has been in the works for over a year, so finally getting to hold the physical book, it feels very surreal to me that it's actually happening and it's actually coming out, and you will also get it, and I can't wait to hear what you think of it. I love it. I absolutely love it, so I hope that you will love it as much as I do. But that's everything for today's video. Thanks for watching, and I will film the last part of the pattern previews next week as soon as I have the book with me. But until then, thanks and bye!